So today we're talking about surface area of triangular prisms. Okay, so first of all, we just need to review finding area. So to find the area of a rectangle, remember we say that it's length times width. So that means we would say 12 times 7. So the area of this rectangle would be 84 square feet. Okay. However, with a triangle, remember a triangle is like that, except we're dividing by 2. So base times height divided by 2. So our base is always going to be perpendicular to our height. So the base is 12, and then the height, and normally it is a dotted line, is here. And this tells us that the height is 7. So that means we would have 12 times 7 divided by 2, okay? And 12 times 7 is 84, divided by 2 is 42. So that means the area of this triangle would be 42 square feet. So I've asked here for you to think about what is different about the two shapes and their areas, and we've talked about these briefly, right? So with a triangle, yes, you're going to multiply their base and height or length and width together, but then you have to remember to divide by 2. Okay, this is not new to you. We've done this some this year, and you also learned this last year. Okay. So for a triangular prism, okay, it has 2 triangular bases and then 3 bases that are rectangles. And the reason it has 3 is because if you think about a triangle, it has 3 sides. Okay, so remember that your bases are not going to touch each other, rather they're going to be parallel. So here we're going to just look for a little bit and locate the bases on these triangular prisms. Okay, so remember that the bases of triangular prisms have to be triangles. That's how they get their names. So that means that this here would be 1. Okay, and then remember when you're looking for the other one, it's also going to be a triangle. It's going to be exactly the same. And then also the bases are parallel to each other. They're not going to touch. So that means that it's here. So this prism is not standing on its end or standing on a base. Rather, it is laying on its side. Okay, but notice that you have the 2 triangular bases, and then we're going to have 3 rectangular sides or faces. Okay, so same thing for this one right here. This second one is a right triangle, but it's still a triangle. Okay, so that means that here is a base, and here is the other base. And again, this is laying on its side, okay, but it's still a triangular prism. And the way you know that is because the bases are triangles. And then the third one has been opened as a net, okay? So again, here is a base, and here is a base, okay? So notice we have 2 triangular bases, and then we have 1, 2, 3 rectangular bases. At the bottom of this, it says decompose each net into different congruent figures, then find the area of each shape. And then I have a couple of examples for us to work. So number 4 says find the total surface area of the triangular prism. Okay, so the first thing you can remember is that a triangular prism has 2 triangular bases. Okay, so the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. Okay, so our base is 4 and our height is 3.5. Okay, I want you to notice that 4, and then our height is perpendicular, so it's 3.5. So we're going to have 4 times 3.5, and then we're going to divide by 2. Okay, so when you do that, you get 14 divided by 2, which is 7. Okay, so that means that one of our triangular bases is 7. Okay, so we have 7 there. And then what you need to remember is that we actually have 2 of these triangular bases, right? We have 2 of those. So 7 times 2 means our triangles total 14. Okay, so that's important. Okay, then when we're looking at our rectangles, okay, so we're going to have this rectangular face here on this side. Okay, the area of a rectangle is length times width. Okay, so 7 times 4 is 28. And what I want you to notice is this over here is also 4, which means that this rectangle on this back side is going to measure the same thing. So we have 2 rectangles right there that are the same. Okay. And then I want you to notice one more thing. We would have a third side that's going to measure that as well. Okay, the reason for that is this is an equilateral triangle. So that means all 3 side lengths are the same. If this side is 4, this side is 4, this side is 4, which is this side, then they're all the same, all 3 rectangles. So really, when we find one of them on this prism, we can then multiply that by 3. This is not the case on every triangular prism, only if the base is an equilateral triangle. Okay, and I know that 20 times 3 is 60, and 8 times 3 is 24, so I get that that totals 84. So if I know that my triangles total 14 and my rectangles total 84, then I can just combine those together. So I get 98 square feet. Okay, so that would be our answer, 98 square feet. For number 5, it says the chocolate candy below is being wrapped in a cardboard box. How many square centimeters are needed for the box? So we need enough to go around the outside of the candy. Okay, so we're doing the same thing here. What I want you to notice is that your triangular base, this is not an equilateral triangle this time. Okay. Okay, so we're using 3 for our height. And then our base of our triangle here is 2.2. So the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. So we have 2.2 times 3 divided by 2, right? So that means that we're going to get 3.3 for our triangle here. But then we have 2. We have one back here on this side as well, right? So then we need to actually remember that we have a total of 6.6 for our triangular bases, okay? But then when it comes to the rectangles, we have to look at those, okay? So this triangular base was not an equilateral triangle, okay? This tells us that this side is 2.6. So same thing here, and then same thing here and here. Okay, so we have 2 sides where that is 2.6, but then we have one side where it's 2.2. So we can say the area for a rectangle is length times width. So we can say 2.6 times 16, and that will give us one rectangle. So one rectangle is 41.6. So that's one side going across this way. We actually have 2 sides like that that are the same. So we then need to multiply that by 2 to find what that total is. Okay, and it is 83.2. Then we can't forget about the bottom rectangle. Okay, so down here at the very bottom, we have 2.2 times 16. So again, area of a rectangle is length times width. So 2.2 times 16 instead of 2.6 times 16. Okay, so you just have to be really careful. And that is 35.2. So then remember, to find surface area, we just have to add all of those together. So we're going to add 6.6, 83.2, and 35.2, okay, to get our total. And when you do that, you get that the total surface area is 125 square centimeters. Okay, that would be your answer to this problem. Number 6, a carpenter is building a unique jewelry box in the shape of a right triangular prism. Okay, so they're telling us that our triangular base is a right triangle. The base has measurements of 4 inches, 3 inches, and 5 inches. Okay, so if that's 5, then that means that this is also 5. How much wood would it take to complete the project if the prism is 6 inches tall? Okay, or the jewelry box is 6 inches tall. So to find the area of our triangular faces, remember the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. So the base and the height of our triangle, remember they meet at a 90-degree angle. They're perpendicular. So we would be looking at 3 and 4, okay? So we're going to say that we have 3 times 4 divided by 2, so 12 divided by 2 is 6. But then the thing you have to remember is that we actually have 2 of those. So if this is 6 and this is 6, then the area of our triangular bases total 12, okay? Then we're going to look at our rectangular faces. Okay, so what I want you to notice is we have this rectangle, and its dimensions are 6 by 4. So remember, length times width. So 6 times 4 is 24. Okay. And then we have another rectangular face. Okay, we have this one here, and it is 3 times 6. So again, length times width. So 3 times 6. So 6 times 3 is 18. And then we have one more. Okay, so that's going to be this back one that we have not done yet. And it is also 6 inches tall and 5 inches wide. So area is length times width. So 6 times 5 is 30. Okay, so what I want you to notice about this is because it's a right triangle, our bases, then that means that our rectangular faces are all different. So notice we had 3 different measurements for our rectangular faces. Then we just have to total this. So we know that 12 and 18, so 12 and 18 is 30, plus 30 more is 60, plus 24 is 84 square inches. And that would be the surface area, so that would be how much wood is needed to make the jewelry box. And then on number 7, we're looking at one that has a net. So find the surface area. So here, here's our base. And then we have a matching one here. Okay, so notice that we would be looking at using 4 and 3 because they have to meet at a right angle or perpendicular. So 4 times 3 divided by 2 is how we find the area of a triangle, right? We would say 4 times 3 divided by 2. So that is 6. So these are each 6. For our rectangles, I want you to know that they're all going to be different because we have this one here that is 4 by 9, right? So 4 times 9 is 36. But then we have this one here. It is 3 by 9 because if this is 3, then this must also be 3 because when you fold it together, they have to be the same. Okay, so 3 times 9 is 27. And then we have the top one. Okay, and so think about when these two sides are folded together, that means that this is 5 and this is 9. So 5 times 9 is 45. So then we just have to total all of those together. We have to say 6 plus 6 plus 45 plus 36 plus 27 to get our total surface area. And when you do that, you get 120 square centimeters.